All right, hi everybody, and welcome to, I believe, day 7 of online learning with Packet 2. I'm Mr. Wheeler, teacher at Dutrow Elementary. Hi, Dolphins. Welcome back to another day of exciting learning. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you all so that you can see the things that I am working on as well. All right, so Mr. Wheeler has his virtual packet pulled up. Um, Yep, there it goes. And I'm scrolling down to day 7. All right, let me zoom in a little bit so we can look at our learning targets and see what we are supposed to be accomplishing today. All right, so we have to read the story, This Is Not My Cat, and then use a piece of paper to create a plot map for the story. And then it has a writing exercise that we can do, that you guys can do on your own after you watch the video, or you can pause the video and do the writing assignment if you so choose. It says, imagine you lost your pet. What steps would you take to find it? Write a complete paragraph to describe the steps you would take using transition words, first, then, next, last. Since they gave you 4 transition words, I think it's a good idea to make sure that you have at least 4 sentences in your paragraph. For math, it says to choose one of the math games from either packet, this one or the last packet, to play with a partner. If you have a brother or sister or mom or dad at home, anyone who's at home can be your partner for one of those games. And then you have to solve the problem that's written on the paper here. This is how would you write this number in standard form. We're going to revisit some place value skills and talk about what that means. And then it says to go to Dreambox and play for about 20 minutes. You can write the name of the game you played. For science, it says to create a chart and record examples of solids, liquids, and gases found in your kitchen. So this is something you can do at home. And then it says to go to Pebble Go, and you can go read and learn more about the states of matter there if you so choose. Remember, for Pebble Go, the username is your school name, and the password is just school. So you guys all have access to some great resources at home while we're not physically at school. All right, so let's go ahead and find the story. It's on day 7. Mr. going to scroll down past all the stuff from last week so that I can find This Is Not My Cat. All right, so, no, this is the noisiest cat. This is not my cat. Let me find This Is Not My Cat. All right, perfect. All right, so it says she sat in the front window, curled into a ball, feverishly licking herself. She was brown, black, gray, and orange, all the colors a cat can be swirled into a crazy patchwork. She looked like she had been the sole witness in the explosion of a paint store. You are a very lovely cat, Aggie said. I wish I knew what you were doing here. The cat looked up and meowed, as if to say she was asking herself just the same question. Aggie had come home from school that day, same as always. She had fixed herself a plate of graham crackers and peanut butter, same as always. She had sat down on the couch to watch afternoon TV with the cat, same as always. Only one thing was different. This was the wrong cat. Aggie's beloved cat Princess was jet black and heavy on the side. This interloper had an air of the jungle about her. She was muscular, smaller than Princess, and apparently much more fit. What did you do to my cat? Asked Aggie, her mouth full of graham crackers. How did you get in here? We don't have a cat door. We didn't leave any windows open. Did you teleport in through the glass? Or have you always been living in the house and you just now decided to show yourself? Do you have an evil plan? Although it appeared to consider her words carefully, the cat said nothing. Aggie turned off the TV in disgust. She was going to have to deal with this herself. Taking the cat in the crook of her arm, she carried it outside. The cat wriggled in her arms, but Aggie held her tightly. I've already lost one cat today. I'm not losing another one. She peered under bushes, behind the garbage cans, and in the secret corners inside the garage. Princess was nowhere to be seen. As she grew desperate, she even looked in the mailbox. The longer the search went on fruitlessly, the more the strange cat twisted in her arms. Finally, she started to hiss and claw. Fine, you want to come down? You come down. Aggie set the cat down carefully. It did not run away. That's right, you stay close. As Aggie walked, the cat walked beside her, showing no inclination to run. A few times it crept off silently to nose into a patch of overgrown grass or bushes, apparently helping in the search for Princess. They found no sign of the vanished kitty. I guess I should try to figure out who owns you, Aggie said. She knocked on her neighbor's door and Mrs. Munson opened it. She was a crag-faced woman whose constant scowling made her look older than she really was. What do you want? Asked Mrs. Munson, suspicious as always. My cat Princess is missing, Anne. Do you think I'm stupid? You have a cat right there. I know, but this isn't my cat, you see. So now you want two cats. That seems awfully greedy. Actually, I wanted to ask if this was your cat. I hate cats. Do you know who she belongs to? Or have you seen any other cats wandering that? No. Unlike you, I have more important things to do than think about cats. Goodbye. When Mrs. Munson slammed the door in Aggie's face, the strange cat rubbed her head against Aggie's ankle in sympathy. The next neighbors were less angry, but no more helpful. No one had seen Princess, and they had no idea whose cat this was. And even though nobody was quite as mean as Mrs. Munson, they all gave the distinct impression they did not care about Aggie's problems. Problem. You lose a cat, you find a cat, said Mr. Tanner. You break even. What's the problem? But I want my cat. Mr. Tanner shrugged and closed the door. Aggie and the strange cat padded to the edge of his front lawn to sit on the curb and sulk. It was getting dark now, and Aggie's parents would be home soon. She had two mysteries on her hands: where this cat came from and where her cat went, and felt in her bones that if she let the sun go down without solving them, she never would. Beside her, the strange cat crouched and began to purr. There was something in the bushes. Princess, Aggie called. The bushes rustled louder. The strange cat lowered her stomach to the ground and pulled herself through the grass like a soldier might. Without meaning to, Aggie mimicked her, crouching as low as she could without falling over. They crept forward together as the bushes rustled louder and louder. Aggie leaned forward, one palm in the dirt, and tore the bushes open. The cat pounced, startling the shadowy creature hiding inside. Princess? Asked Aggie, as the animal turned and ran away. She was about to go after it when a glimmer of light from a passing car illuminated it briefly. Unless Princess was dressed up for Halloween, that was a raccoon. That's my mom's car. Let's go home and see whether or not we can explain this mess. Aggie hefted the cat and trudged home. She opened the door and cried a forlorn, "Hey, Mom." "Hey, sweetheart," said Mom. "What's going on?" "I've got some news about the cat." Aggie walked into the living room, making eye contact with her mother and preparing to deliver the bad news, but her mouth couldn't form words. There was Princess sitting right beside Mom on the couch, same as always. "The cat, sweetheart?" We, uh, the strange cat entered from outside. "We have two of them now." Mom looked as surprised to see the new cat as Aggie was to see the old. As the two cats met each other, Aggie stared at Princess, dying to know where she had been. Princess looked at her, black eyes shining in yawn, as if to say she would never tell. All right. And that is the end of our story. I believe you will complete this Venn diagram tomorrow. So what we need to do now is create a plot map of this story. Um, so the best way to do this is to think about what we read. So I think we should probably take just a few quick notes on the story we read. We think about our characters, the setting, the problem and solution. That'll definitely give us some good indicators as to what we should write about. Okay. So I'm gonna shrink this down a little bit so I can keep this over here. I'm gonna take a few notes over here to the right. All right, so our story was called "This Is Not My Cat." We know that our main characters are Aggie, Princess, and the other cat. So let's think about what's going on. So I'm just kind of skimming through very quickly because remember, friends, a plot map ultimately kind of like helps to summarize the story. We don't get every single important event, but we get like the most important things that are kind of going on in the story. So let's think about what happens first. Aggie comes home from school. She fixes a snack and watches TV. Then she notices the cat, not her cat, because we know it's not Princess. She notices that the cat on the couch, this really good spell couch, with her is not her cat, Princess. She questions the new cat, but the cat does not answer. Friends, it's a cat. This isn't a fantasy kind of story, so you don't have talking animals. The cat isn't going to answer. All right. Aggie then searches for Princess. That's what I write her. Aggie then searches for Princess with the other cat. All right. She questions. You remember the name of the first neighbor she questions? She questions Mrs. Munson, but Mrs. Munson was very mean and offered no help. Then what happened? She then goes and questions, let me extend my page here. She then goes and questions other neighbors, but they also offer no help. All right, let's keep going. So as you can see, Mr. Wheeler is not writing down every single detail. I'm kind of just skimming, thinking about what I read, and then writing the important stuff. Aggie returns home and she talks to her mom. Aggie finds, no, Aggie is shocked to find Princess, and mom is shocked to see the new cat. Princess offers no explanation for where she has been. That's kind of the end of the story. So the reason I took all those notes is because it kind of just helps me to think about what happened. I haven't put them in a plot map yet, but I think if I have these notes, it'll make writing my plot map a lot easier. So the way Mr. Wheeler typically does a plot map is that I focus on these 5 kind of like events in the story. We have the exposition, which is kind of the beginning of the story, where we typically learn the characters, we typically learn about the setting, we typically learn about the problem. Then the rising action happens, where some events in the story start to unfold, and then we get to the climax, which is kind of like the most exciting part of the story. Then we get to the falling action, then we get to the resolution, and by the resolution, we should have a solution to our problem. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my notes very quickly, read over them. This is not my cat. I have my characters up here. I'm thinking, what should I write first in my exposition? So the exposition is the beginning of the story. So if I'm going back to my notes, I have Aggie comes home from school. She fixes a snack and watches TV. She notices that the cat on the couch with her is not her cat, Princess. Sorry, y'all. This sentence right here, if it'll let me highlight it, is probably our what, everybody? It's probably our problem. It's probably our problem. So I think that I can fit all that in this first box. And friends, Mr. Wheeler's boxes on the screen are kind of small, and that's kind of a good thing because that means that I can't write with so much. You guys are like really smart. You guys like work very hard. But friends, if you're doing a plot map, you don't have to have every single detail. So Mr. going to try to squeeze in just the really, really important stuff in his plot map. Aggie comes home from school and notices, see if I can stretch this box out a little bit. Aggie comes home from school and notices that her cat is not there. There is another cat. I'll put Princess's name there so that we kind of get to know some of the other characters. So, rising action. Aggie questions the cat, but the cat doesn't answer. I'll just leave that. Aggie questions the cat. Then Aggie and the new cat go and search for Princess. So let me go back to my notes. They go to search for Princess. Mr. Wheeler's like finishing up his rising action. So she questions Mrs. Munson, but Mrs. Munson was very mean and offered no help. During that part of the story, I felt a lot of emotion because Mrs. Munson is kind of, a mean character. So I think that might be a good place to kind of like place our climax. So climax, the point of like the most excitement in the story, where the problem kind of gets like as bad as it's going to get. Mrs. Munson. Aggie asks Mrs. Munson about Princess, but Mrs. Munson yells at Aggie and offers no help. If I was Aggie, I'd be feeling pretty sad at that point. All right, so after that, falling action, Aggie then, what happened? Let me get back to my notes. Friends, this is why these notes are so important. Because I took these notes, friends, I don't have to go back to my passage. I mean, I could have. It's always like a really good place to go. But because I took these notes and I got them directly from the passage, friends, I don't have to go back. Okay. So she then goes and questions other neighbors with the offer no help. Aggie returns home when she talks to mom. Okay. Aggie then questions other neighbors, but they offer no help. All right, resolution. Aggie returns home and talks to mom, where she finds who? She finds Princess. Aggie says that they now have 2 cats. All right. So in these 5 boxes, friends, I've kind of told the whole story relatively quickly. I left out like a lot of the smaller details, friends, but I have all the important stuff there. All right, so friends, if you have done this, you have mastered today's learning target. Friends, remember, you don't have to copy exactly word for word what Mr. Wheeler says, because when we talk about stories, friends, especially one that was kind of intricate like this one, stories are very subjective, friends, which means there could be more than one right answer. If you thought the climax was somewhere else, friends, it might very well be. Remember, if you can justify where it is and make it make sense to yourself and maybe to your teacher or to someone else, you're probably good to go. But I think these are like some pretty good points to kind of like use if you get stuck. All right, so let Mr. Wheeler open up another clean page because we need to do our math. All right. Let's see, let me go back up to day 7. Move this around a little bit. Okay. Day 7, math. We're now done with reading math. Okay, so it says, how would you write in standard form? So friends, the reason I didn't say the numbers because I want you guys to think about it. Oftentimes, if you say it out loud, friends, that's a good indication as to how you're going to write it. So if Mr. Wheeler looks right here, it says 130,069. So friends, they presented it in, does anybody know? They presented it in word form, so we are now responsible for presenting it in standard number form. So all we're doing is writing the numbers. So it says 130,069. So friends, all we really got to do is kind of just play around with it. 130,069. 130,069. So if Mr. was just thinking about what I know, it says 130. I kind of take it from right there. Like I can take it and chunk the number up into parts. It says 130. I know that 130 looks like that. And then it says 1,000, which oftentimes looks like this, like that's 1,000. And then it says 69. So friends, I need to think about how I can use all of my knowledge here to kind of think about what that will look like in terms of one number. So 130,069. So anytime I hear that word thousand, I know that I'm probably going to have a what? Mr. was probably going to have a comma somewhere in his number. So 130, and then I have that comma, or then I have that word thousand, so I'm probably going to put a comma there, and then it says 69. So friends, if I'm looking at this number, something about it just doesn't look right as I've written it. 130,000 and then 69. Friends, Mr. knows he can only use the comma after every 3-digit places. So friends, if I have 130,069, I'm probably going to need to like use another digit to hold my place. Friends, what am I probably going to use? Probably going to use a 0 because zeros are great place holders because they have no value. So let me just like put a 0 at the end and see what happens. All right, so I'm looking at this now. And because honestly, friends, it's a little easier to read numbers than it is to read words sometimes, I'm going to say this number and see if it sounds right. So I have 130,000, that comma means 1,000. Well, 690. That doesn't sound like 130,069. So if I'm thinking about this one more time, I have 130,000. That part sounded right. 69. In this number, friends, 690, I have 600s, 9 tens, and 0 ones. But in 69, I should only have 9 ones and 6 tens. I have 9 ones and 6 tens, but if I put the 0 there, I now have 600s and 9 tens. So that means that 0 is going to go somewhere else. Let me try to put it in between the 2 digits. Well, I'm not even going to say the number. I know it's not going to work because I still have 600s. I'll stop playing with you guys. You guys know where it goes. It goes right here in the hundreds place. All right, so this number is 130,069. 130,069. This number has 100,000, 3 10,000s, 0 thousands, 0 hundreds, 6 tens, and 9 ones. All right. So friends, if you're like, at home and you're like bored and need something to do, friends, try writing some numbers in word form and try writing them in standard form, friends. You guys can practice. Like I'll just do one really quick. I have 244,758. So friends, say it to yourself over and over again and think about how those numbers are represented using words. So 244,000, and then I put my comma in my word form as well. 758. All right, so friends, I encourage you to like practice those on your own at home. All right, let's go on to science. So if I go back to what I'm supposed to be doing for science today, it says to create a chart and record examples of solids, liquids, and gases found in your kitchen. So friends, you can go to your kitchen and think about what things are solids, what things are liquids, and what things are gases. I have some anchor charts that I kind of just like found off the internet, friends, to kind of refresh my memory about what solids, liquids, and gases are. So I'm just going to read this very quickly, and hopefully you find it helpful. So remember, friends, solids, they have a definite shape and a definite volume. Friends, volume refers to like the amount of space an object has or holds. All right. Liquids, they have an indefinite shape. That means they don't have like an exact shape. and they have a definite volume, friends. So you think about like this bottle of water that Mr. Wheeler has right here. The liquid's kind of moving around, but the liquid still takes up space. It still has volume. And then gases, friends, they don't have a specific shape and they don't have a specific volume. And the reason that their like shapes and volumes are kind of different have to like do with like the particles, like the small tiny bits within those objects, friends, and how tightly packed those particles are, friends. In solids, like the particles are packed together very closely. In liquids, they're kind of like free to move. Going back to my water, the particles are kind of free to move. They don't have a definite shape. And when you think about gases, friends, they kind of just move all throughout the atmosphere. So, friends, if that didn't make any sense, that's fine. I think what really kind of like helped me to think about solids, liquids, and gases and think about how they're different, friends, are some of these characteristic words that are also found online as well. So, friends, if you think about something that's a solid, it's probably like, it could like think of words like this, like hard, small, soft, firm, or stable. If it's a liquid, you can think of things like wet, slimy, clear, oily, or hot. If something's a gas, you can think about it as like odorless, maybe it has an offensive or bad smell, invisible. You oftentimes can't see gases, poisonous, there's some poisonous gases, and then flammable, which means able to catch on fire. So friends, think about those things as you are making your search for your items in your kitchen. So friends, one more thing, solids, liquids, and gases. Friends, I think water is really cool because it can be found in all three states. So friends, when water is a solid, we know that it's ice. When water is a liquid, we know that it's water. When water is a gas, it's not represented here in the picture, friends, but it's like steam or water vapor. So I think that is super, super cool. So friends, please think about those things as you are finding your, as you are making your list. All right, and if you get stuck, you are more than free to go look at Pebble Go to help you there as well. All right, friends, I really appreciate you tuning in today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate all that you're doing at home to learn. I know this is hard for everybody, but Mr. Wheeler misses you guys a lot, and I hope to see many of you guys as fourth graders next year. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Bye.